Okay, so hopefully, see if people can hear me. It looks that way. So we're not going to have a good view the whole time that I program because there's no good place for me to sit that's like totally in line with the window. So I just thought I'd give you guys a nice window view at the start of the stream so that you believe this isn't fake news and I'm not in like Russia or something. But then again, it could be a green screen. You don't know. It could be a highly sophisticated green screen. Okay, let me pause the incoming video. I'm on my laptop, of course. So you guys can watch the lights for another second or two while I get some power plugs set up and things. I'm also reading chat on my phone. Have I moved to Vegas? No, but I got up yesterday morning and California's air was made out of cotton. And I said, I have to get out of here right now. And I was able to do that by getting on a plane to Las Vegas within 2 hours of when I decided that. So I said, why not? I know someone here who I could hang out with a little bit. And I know where there's a little cafe where I can work on my laptop and I can hang out at the swimming pool and I can breathe air that is not poison. And those things are benefits. Okay, I wish I could figure out a place to sit that would also give you the very nice view, but I don't know how it's going to work. I can't really, it'll be very uncomfortable for me to sit here and use the laptop. So you can just imagine, stock up on some ammo before you head back. So it is illegal to bring ammo into the state of California. You can't do it. Um, Fortunately, I have ammo at home, so it's no problem. Um, yeah, and it's, if you check it in on a plane, the TSA is kind of going to notice that you're breaking the law. You know what I'm saying? Any chartreuse here? I haven't really looked. I haven't really looked. Am I thinking of moving to Vegas? Well, maybe. I mean, honestly, it's. I mean, I don't like the gambling part of it or anything, but which is everywhere. But there are some positive aspects to living here. I could consider it. I could consider it for sure. I don't know though. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but then, whenever I hang out here, I have fun. So there's that. Okay, well, this is probably enough of giving people the view, I guess, and we could start programming. Let me just, maybe I'll just pull this chair up and sort of angle the laptop up and back, and you'll get a little bit of the window, maybe. Let's see what happens. Other than that, I could use this couch that you can't see over here and just be up against the wall, but that's boring, right? You're not going to see anything anyway. We'll go up against the wall. We'll go up. You can tell people who show up in the stream later on that you were here before it was cool when we had the view of Las Vegas in the background. All right. Have I watched Tenet? I have not watched Tenet. Yeah, I'm not about to go to a theater this year. When they make it for download, I might do it. All right, let me check. How is this camera? Oh, that's not too offensive. All right, so I off stream. So last time we streamed working on the compiler, I was working on the main loop and simplifying it, and that was good. And I did some more of that off stream, and that was very successful. And then I realized there were some ways that it could be further simplified and made nice that I forgot about. And so I started doing one of those um, this morning, and it was a little bit of a disaster. So I worked on other things and left it for this afternoon. And so I'm just going to start hacking on the main loop, and chances are I'll just completely destroy everything and it'll be terrible. But we're going to see. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to go there. I hate typing in this editor, dude. Ugh. Okay, where was this one? This is compiler pump. Oh no, this is not something we want to keep. And then we just need service events, take this argument. So the preload is, before the compiler can load your code, it loads this other code called the preload, which you may have seen before. It's got basic things that get used, like type info and um, stack trace procedure and temporary storage, all the data structures that are like compiler built-ins that, and the reason it gets loaded before your code is that, like we need to know what the type of the context base is or whatever, or, these data structures are used internally for talking about sizes and the members of various things. And so the type inference code wants to be able to use these data structures. And so they need to be ready before we really process any of your code or before we use certain sets of features. So there's like no polymorphism in here because using polymorphism requires being able to use some of these things. And so if these things aren't compiled yet, you can't do it, right? And so, um, yeah. Anyway, so this gets compiled before your thing gets compiled. And of course, that requires some doing to make that happen correctly. And so this used to happen in this phase preload thing, but I've decided that that's not, wait, didn't I? Okay, hold on. I edited that here. So I'm getting rid of the concept of phase preload. So these phases are the different stages that compilation can be in that it messages your uh, your metaprogram about. Of course, even if you don't have a metaprogram, it goes through these stages. And I decided that the better way to indicate that we're in the preload is to go along these same stages, but um, just have a different variable set, which is set anyway. So I'm just trying to clean up some old decisions that were maybe not made in the way that makes sense now. And of course, I don't know. This is like 4 down the stack. Like I saw there was a compiler bug that I decided to try to fix, and that involved doing a certain thing better, and that involved doing a different thing better, and that involved probably doing this first. So I'm doing this. All right. So, um, well, all right. So this is probably a disaster, what I just did, and that's fine. Actually, it already was a disaster. So this will either be more, less, or the same amount of disaster. All right. All right. So first of all, we have a control M. So we're on the wrong line. That. And so where is this? Let's just go there in a real editor. Add directive load. Right. So we want to do this always. Chat sure is quiet today. Everyone's out partying. Everyone's out COVID partying like maniacs. I think. Yep. Chat is so very quiet. So very quiet. Okay. So we compile. That's a long way from being able to run. See what happens. Boom. Um, all right. Well, it got to finish preload, and I suspect it is getting there early. Yeah, it's getting there early because blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what I want to do is go to that if is preload that I added, and we'll just put some braces around that. I want to see when this happens because I think this is just happening way too soon, or the returning done is happening too soon. And there's some logic about whether we're done or not, and I'm not sure if this is the best place to put it or who's the caller, right? Yeah, okay. So basically, we're saying return pump done, and the pipes are probably still full, or probably more full than we want. Yeah, there's still stuff in the infer pipe. So we actually want to keep looping until stuff is past, everything is past the size pipe. All right. We'll try adding that. This is an interesting thing where we're not really trying to reproduce the old logic. Like sometimes if you're being careful and you are scared of breaking things and you want to just keep your program working, and I do this sometimes, I've demonstrated this before, you just make the minimal possible changes and just try to keep walking along the ISO surface of like working program with the same functionality, right? That is not what I'm trying to do right now. What I'm doing right now is just having a strong idea of what I want to happen that is clear, and then just changing it to be that way. And that involves going through the interior of the shape and breaking things, and then you come out the other side eventually, as long as you keep at it. Or at least I've never failed to come out the other side. Maybe it'll happen someday. Maybe I'll hit a black hole. Okay. So, and honestly, this isn't that scary, but maybe it is scary. I don't know. We have interp. I don't know, something like that. I probably have some function somewhere that'll be better, more authoritative, but yeah. Okay, so now we are infinite looping, interestingly, which I didn't really expect. So we might not be doing something important. Oh, it used to be that we allowed one declaration. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to run this here. I thought we fixed that, but it may not be. Oh, and I think I changed some other logic. Anyway, so we just keep hitting here and then returning. So let's see. Oh wow, everything's in the infer pipe still. Wait, what? Okay, we must not even be calling pump pipes at all. Oh yeah, because flow pipes looks it is preload. Let's see what that. Oh, and that's only if. No, 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 no. Actually, well, let's do it. So I kind of changed what phase building source means, which also, let's just let it run for a sec, which also is confusing. So this is like more messy than it really has to be. All right, so we've got all these things, and we're not even calling this because phase index is phase building source. All right, so like, yeah, clearly we're just going to loop forever because we never try to do any work. Um, because, okay, okay. So, all right. So advanced phase building source. Okay, we got to do this down there. That should probably be in the caller. We're way out in left field at this point. We're doing wacky things. Still. Oh, still looping because well, I don't know. I would have expected that we would hit phase inferring. And then we would stop looping. All right. Oh wait, is preload is false? Okay. So maybe we are infinite looping, but later now. Maybe we successfully built the preload. So now maybe, so these are all, let me see, infer, size, build, pipe build. Oh, send messages. Oh, all these guys are piled up in messaging, which is weird. Going back and reading chat now. Talking about Dune. Talking about various things. Various things. Okay. So, like, what's going on here? It might be. Okay. It might be that. Wait, why are you saying is preload? I thought is preload was false, didn't we? What? I see. So we don't keep looping. Oh right, we don't send things. We don't send messages. Okay, hold on. Whoops. Okay. We don't want to do any of this stuff. That's a little bit. It's a little bit scary. All right. See, I wanted to make this simpler, and I'm making it kind of more complicated in some ways. Oh, okay. This was actually expected. This was, okay, this was due to a different change that I made today that honestly I should revert because we're changing a different major thing. Yeah, yeah. So this is all about changing the policy involving uh, when identifiers are allowed to be undeclared, which I could explain why, but let's not get into that right now. Okay, so we're using the debug compiler, so it's very slow, but we may have a working main loop now without this thing called phase preload, which would be pretty stoked. Nope. Okay, this is not what I wanted. Let's see. Can we compile like a really simple program? Yep. So, like, that's just a simple thing there. So this guy not being in by type involves the meta program that we're running. Oh, that might also be. Let's see if that's modified. It may well be. Maybe not. Maybe I rewrote it. Because like I said, I was working on other things and then decided that it would be better to do other things, and then it would be better to do other things for those. Nope. Hmm. Hmm. Is there a good video to learn about the job system in the compiler? Not really. There is sort of a job system, but we're not going to really use it because job systems, as it turns out, are not really a good idea. Don't buy the hype. Don't buy the hype. Sudoku-like game. You mean Everyday Genius Square Logic from back in the day? Everyday Genius Square Logic. Yeah. So we still use a job system right now, but it's only a job system in name. All it does is kick off parsing jobs, so like the same task, and we'll eventually. Actually, I think the LLVM backend uses it too, but it shouldn't. Like yeah, it's not good. Job systems are not good. How do you do render order in a 3D video game? You sort things, or you use a Z-buffer. I did like a whole 5-hour video on this that you could find on YouTube. Okay, so let's go look at let's build the game again and see what we outputted. All right, added strings W2. We have most of the entity types. We don't have guy. Um, so guy is probably stuck in the pipeline for some reason. This exact thing has happened to me before. And kind of in one way we just want to fix this, but in another way, part of what we're doing is making things more robust so that we don't have this kind of problem when working on the compiler. Now, trying to remember what it would have been. It probably is this that we're hanging up on. I don't remember why. So one thing we can do, we can break on that is not a member of. It's also, I did change something about, in my previous check-in, I changed something about looking up identifiers in structs. So it could be that struct is just not yet ready. We'll see. So go into this. Where are we? Where are we? We're in the maze of, oh, that's where we want to be. Well, what's this one then? Unary. All right. Gonna break there. Gonna make sure that we are running. The initial value I give them is the max value I was looking for. That's why it was set to int max previously. That didn't appear to be what the documentation was saying. Right? Like, okay, let's go look at this while, because I haven't gone back and run this on Linux, so let's see. So, sem init was what we were looking up, right? So the value argument specifies the initial value for the semaphore. It does not say maximum value. It says initial value, which is, I take to mean the current count. In other words, the number of times you can wait on the semaphore before you sleep. Is the documentation wrong? If the documentation is wrong, you cannot tell me that I fucked up Linux semaphores because I just read the man page. Wait, try wait decrements the counter if it is more than 0. I want the counter to begin at 0. Look at sem wait. All right. Sem wait. Decrements the semaphore. If the semaphore's value is greater than 0, then the decrement proceeds. Do you guys think I don't know how semaphores work? Why are you telling me to read sem wait? What is going on? Why did you interrupt my work to bother me with this? The initial value is supposed to be 0. Why would you want an initial value of long max? That would be the worst semaphore in the universe. Why do you think that I want a semaphore that you have to wait on long max number of times before you block? Why would that be useful? I suppose actually you could emulate if you had the, if you knew, no, that doesn't even make sense. You thought I wanted to have a semaphore with a max of 1? Yes. So just set the initial value to 1. What? Why would setting the initial value to 1 be equivalent to having a max value of 1? Do you understand what I mean by semaphore max value? What I mean by semaphore max value is that if you, I don't know what the Linux terminology is. It post? Is it sem post? Max value of 1 means that if you post on the semaphore and it's 1, the number will not increase. Okay, so I think it's you that did not understand what I was trying to do, which is fine. Um, all right, so that was a diversion for a while. You don't think SemPost can do that? Yes, indeed, that is the conclusion that we came to the other day, is that SemPost can't do that. A regular practitioner of 252 tuple programming. Yeah, and look at how well it goes. Look at how well it goes. Oh, hello. Hello, Raiders. I bet you guys were just doing some math homework or something and just decided you didn't like math anymore and wanted to see some Las Vegas programming. You missed the great Las Vegas view, but there's a little bit of it. You probably can't see that. You're talking about the future of mankind, actually. All right, well, the future of mankind is that you can't say the word mankind because that's politically incorrect. You have to say X kind. The laptop camera sucks. Yeah, it's not a good camera. What do you want? It costs them like 2 cents. Talking about humans being unable to achieve immortality without figuring out how to use DNA as a storage medium. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking actual immortality, right? Then yeah, at some point, either you repeat yourself, or or you just grind to a stop in terms of integrating information. Um, that might be a very, very, very long time, but if you actually want immortality, that's infinite time. Of course, if you're gonna really want to be immortal, you're gonna have to figure out how to escape the universe before the heat death happens, but that's probably doable. So you don't want to make it to 100. Your joints are going to be sawdust by then. Do you have a joint problem that I don't know about. Um, my joints are actually mostly doing okay, and I'm an old man, so uh, but you know, all I can say is I recommend Kung Fu Iron Body training, and then um, maybe having naturally big joints and uh, doing a lot of dance, which is in practice also Iron Body training. Connective tissue disorder. Oh no. Okay, I didn't know about that. Woof. Well, if you live long enough, maybe we can figure out your connective tissue disorder, right? Gene therapy, make it happen. What kind of kung fu am I doing these days? So I used to do a style of praying mantis, and I still do it a little bit sometimes, but not very much. I'm very rusty. You have a 10 plus person team to make a game, and you want to make sure it's not another unfinished student game. Any tips how to make sure a game gets polished in time, or how to plan for the polishing phase? Okay, so what you do is make something as simple as possible that works as quickly as possible, right? So, like, depending on, I don't know if you have the whole year or if you have a few months, like some classes do, but like, just sit down and figure out how do you get something in like 2 weeks or 1 week, right? It's not going to be your whole thing, doesn't matter. Just how do you get the most basic thing? If you've got people on the team who are going to do modeling or whatever, just have them substitute a crappy model that like has the bones that you want but isn't really shaped or textured out, anything, right? Doesn't matter. You get that in, you get it working, and then you actually have something, and then the goal is just to make it as good as you can make it in the time that you have. And you can do that iteratively in that way, right? Next 2 weeks, okay, can we get this stuff in? And then at the end of that 2 weeks, did we succeed at that? Okay, so we know what we can succeed at and how we can proceed. If we didn't succeed at that, then you get to ask some hard questions and figure out why and what you can do better in the next period, right? But what you absolutely do not want to do, and I've done this before, actually on much shorter deadlines, but I've done this before, you do not want to have everyone start putting stuff together and then try to have it come together by the end and then it doesn't and then you have nothing good, right? Really avoid that. It's going to be networked. Rip, rip. The issue isn't getting it up and running, it's dealing with the complexity of a network application. Why do I think games take years to make now, while games like Diablo or Doom were done in less than a year? Because games back then were a lot simpler. That's all. Even like Doom is very, very simple compared to a modern 3D game. That's all there is. All right, let's do some programming. Why did I change the Twitch avatar? Because the Thousand Spikes guy was just too low res and ugly. Twitch wasn't doing pixel perfect upscaling of it, obviously, so it just looks terrible everywhere. That's why. Ugh. Wow, it might be time for me to go to bed soon. Well, we've made some progress, but we don't know why Guy is not um, going through. And the question is why? Oh yeah, we were going to break at that line, and we started running, and we had an old breakpoint that we didn't see. Uh, all right. This is also not a good breakpoint. Come on. This might be a short stream if I'm already yawning. How far are we in the stream? We'll make an hour, no problem. Oh my God, look at all these breakpoints we have to delete. No wonder it's running slow. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. All right, which of these is, there we go. So that's this one. So we will delete all else. Feel like programmers utilized time better that back then? That is definitely true. How easy will this be to integrate with pre-existing CPP projects? I mean, you can do it. It depends on to what extent do you use templates, honestly. If you don't use templates, you're fine. If you do, nobody can integrate with you, so why bother? Well, maybe not nobody. I don't know. I don't know if the Rust people are crazy enough to try to integrate with templates or not. It just doesn't really, it just doesn't really make sense at some point. Yeah, it's not even just that templates don't name mangle in a portable way. That is a big problem. But it's also like there just isn't a semantic equivalent of that in other, like, how do you call into something that just isn't a concept in the other programming language, you know? Like the C calling convention is simple and straightforward enough that it could be added into most languages just as a way of interfacing with foreign things, right? And it is, right? It's fine. Um, C++ uses the C calling convention plus some name mangling, and the name mangling part is difficult and annoying. But you, if at least if you know what the mangling algorithm is, then you're fine. It's still the C calling convention basically, with some extra stuff that makes it a little more annoying. But that's different from like this object behaves semantically in a way that you just don't have in your language, right? Which no other language has C++ templates, right? So it just is what it is. Okay, so we are here. We have our thing. All right, just double checking. We are in the right place. So Guy is not a member of by type. So the question is why not? And so either either we didn't actually add it, or no, we know the answer. We know that we didn't actually add it. So we're breaking in the wrong place. So the question is why. did Guy not make it through the pipes? I suspect that is true. Guy didn't make it through the pipes. I need to make a thing that scans for Guy because, like, with all these things hung up in the pipes, which is expected that some of them would be. We need to make a Guy catcher. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is write some weird code. So when we do a declaration, if strings match, decl identifier, and strings match a name Guy, then assert no check-in Guy catcher. Check-in Guy catcher is decl expression. Expression. I'm just making a global variable for this because this is just some declaration in our very big program, right? So we're making that variable. We're calling it no check-in so that we can't check it in. And now when we hit this breakpoint, that should hopefully have been set to something. These are secrets of debugging, man, that you won't learn in school. Okay. No check-in Guy catcher. Interesting. Really? I didn't expect that. So, okay, so this never even gets to infer, so we need to hit it at parsing. That actually gives us information. If I'm not confused about what's going on, all right, not exactly in parsing, but okay. Make this a struct. We'll do this. Oh, because of this, we don't actually ever hit infer. Trying again. Trying again. Trying again. D has C++ templates. I mean, it has D templates. I don't like answering questions about other languages, but I will say basically any programming language using the word script in the name is probably not good in my opinion, without knowing anything else about it. Like scripting languages are an antiquated concept that don't make sense in the modern day. You just don't. And in fact, somebody clipped me explaining why on YouTube. I just don't know what the link is to that clip, or I would post it. Okay, so we got it. We got the guy. This is all I wanted. Okay, well, this struct, it's in the size pipe. So it never made it to messaging. So let's kind of try to see why. I forget. Statements in order. So we collected the statements in order. Yes. All right. So we do collect statements in order. Okay, so we at least got to there. Let's just check this though. God, our scopes are too big. I need to make them smaller. Ah, God. All right. So we at least made it through here. Probably exited in the middle of this loop. So now we have the benefit, though, that we have a serial number. Which we can now use. Oh, come on. All right. So we can see what happens when we try to size it. Whoops. Wait, didn't I frickin'... I didn't save the file. Dang it. This is fine. Let's actually copy the condition off here and go. I'm hungry all of a sudden. I just ate a big dinner, everybody. I'm hungry now. That SF video was crazy. Which one? There were lots of them going around. Okay, so here, oh man, see, this for loop doesn't make it easy to get at what index we are on, but we can still investigate. File name, line 771. Entity, really? Okay, well, that'll get solved though, because other people, what's going on? Okay, color struck now. So we figured out the entity. Color struct. Why color struct? Something to do with the context, isn't it? No, it can't be. Can it? No, probably not. Looks like we're getting hung up on this one. So this is a different struct that we are using. Right? Line 5 of entities. Line 5. So let's look at this. It's probably hung up on endpoint beam info, if I were to guess. I don't actually know. Let's see. So now we're going to change all these to a different one. God, just let me. This is such a bad UI, dude. And it used to be better. And then they changed it to be terrible. It's like now I have to use the mouse every time I work on the laptop just so I can hit the close button. Dorcases. Didn't have to do it that time, just usually. Like the old window that did the same thing wasn't embedded in the text thing there, so it wasn't ridiculously wide, and it didn't disappear under the bottom. It was just a regular modal dialog like we've used for decades, and it worked better. All right. Oh. All right. Line 6, it's the very first thing. Oh, because num promised powers. is a placeholder. Or is it undeclared? Wait, no, num_promised powers is known. That's known. It's just in a different file. Oh, it's a run directive, bro. Oh, God. See, how deep does the rabbit hole go? I don't know if I'm going to debug all this tonight. Like, this is a run directive because we get the count from promised power. So, like, maybe promised power isn't compiling. That's just an enum. Why wouldn't that compile? Because there's some other run directive that is stalled that is preventing that one. I bet. What's it called? See, things get pretty complicated. There's no stalled one. There's a schmutz on my screen that makes me look like that N is an H, which is why I retyped it 3 times. What's it called? Run directives. No. So either it didn't. No, it probably did run. What is going on? Well, let's take a look. This was my life for like a year of debugging this compiler. We're just doing stuff like this, figuring out what's going on. All right, so we've got a type instantiation. Value is not set, right? So array dimension is this. It's an identifier. Unpromised powers. It is resolved. We did not get an inferred type. So that is also a declaration. Okay, right? So run directive, which is obvious. So did this should have completed, right? No. Why not? The run directive didn't finish inferring, so it never got put in that array. So it's that run directive that is stuck. Now, of course, the question is, what is that frickin' stuck on, right? Line 42 of beam scan. Okay, this run directive is not finishing. And we don't know why yet. How many layers of dependency is this? Welcome to debugging a compiler, man. This is just what it's like. Make peace with the fact that no matter how hard you try, hires won't work out like half the time. I mean, I don't know if the number is half, but yeah, I mean, hiring is very hard. I'll just put it that way. Hiring is difficult. Okay, so we've got a run directive. And so what we can do, this should be able to tell us why we did not, oh, we're sleeping on something. On a Lambda body to be able to run it, right? Okay. It's obviously the function we're trying to call, line 42 of beam scan. Oh no, that's okay. That's just the implicit Lambda body of the run directive. Okay, so this thing then is also stalled. It's not sleeping on someone. It is flattened. It's got 6 expressions and it's stuck on the first one. Sure, everybody's following along. That's an identifier. It's going to be enum names. So that's probably not inferred. Let me see. It's resolved. No, it's inferred. So what's the deal? Why are we blocked on this? So usually if an identifier, if an identifier can't map to something, we can't compile it, right? Or if it does map to something, but we can't figure out the type of that thing, we can't compile it. Here, it's resolved and okay. So I'm gonna, because I'm tired and I want to go to Las Vegas bed, I'm gonna leave it off here, but we're gonna make a note of where we left off. So uh, okay. This was not compiling. It was stuck on identifier here. Oops. But that identifier was resolved and inferred. Actually, I don't know if the identifier itself, no. See, the identifier has no inferred type, that's null, but the scope entry has an identifier, yeah. Resolved to a scope entry that had an inferred type, but the identifier itself didn't. So either it did something wrong when we tried to infer the identifier before, like some step got in the way, or um, it got resolved first. That declaration wasn't ready, but then after the declaration became ready, we didn't try again for some reason, which would be wrong. Um, okay. So what were we doing here? It would help to have the context of, so that was sleeping on this lambda body. Okay, so I'm going to just start continuing to debug this in the morning when I'm nice and fresh. All right, thank you everybody for coming by. And yeah, I'm going to go to bed. I'll keep working on this tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to debug this on or off stream. I might just bang on it off stream. Um, this is, I've had this exact problem before. I don't remember what was at the root of it. So we're just going to have to take a look. But the good thing will be in the end, the main loop will just be better and simpler, easier to understand. Everybody will be happy and we'll all live in the mountains and it'll be great. All right, thanks everyone for coming by. We'll do some more streams soon, especially when I'm not so tired. See ya.